YouTube link can do that as well. Setting up the meeting, give a sec. Okay, so let's get started now. It's streaming. That was the one thing I was missing. Okay, yeah. So let me first of all introduce myself. My name is Anshu Kumar. I'm a presenter for this webinar today. I put up in New Delhi currently, and I request now some of the participants to let me quickly give you an introduction. I want you to just put your grade, your school name, and your city or state, because names I can see as a username. I just want to quickly put in the chat area your school name, your state or city, and your grade. So let's see, we have students from which school, which state, which grade. I repeat, guys, I can see your names, so thank you for that. To save time, I'll request you guys to just put your school details.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, myself Krishna Man, computer HOD from Masuri International School, and all the students are from Masuri International School only.
Oh, thank
Thanks
you so
for
much. Thank you so much for that, ma'am.
thank you for arranging such a webinar in such a short notice. Thanks a lot, sir. So they are giving their classes. They are putting on chat. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the introduction, guys. So now I am aware that all of you are from Missouri International School. So thank you for the introduction from ma'am. So you can stop typing now. Let's study straightforward our agenda for the day. So I would request all of you to please now focus on the screen, off the keyboard on the screen now. Thank you so much for that. Now, the agenda for this webinar is to make you aware about some important terminologies and concepts which you should start learning and exploring from this age or from this grade or from this particular time period, because the reason behind arranging this webinar on cybersecurity is nowadays we all are familiar that around the clock, every time we are using internet through XYZ resources, right? Either we are using it through mobile phone, or you might be using it through your laptops or your tablets, your iPads, or you might be using a smart TV or any smart device like Alexa or Google. So anyhow, you are connected to internet. And the more and more devices available in the market to connect to internet, the more and more people are becoming vulnerable. It is giving many options for a hacker to simply approach the target with many methods, doing a hit and try, and easily get the access of the resources that can be anything, whatever he's intended to. Okay, so the reason that why you should be familiar with all of these things is only this is the more and more, because of this pandemic, now we are using more and more smart devices to get our education, to complete our classes, to get our assignments and etc. So you should be familiar that what are different factors which are responsible for you to understand from security point of view that how an hacker can approach you and can target you to get your information. That information can be anything. It can be your credentials, it can be your financial information like credit card, debit card, it can be your personal information, your privacy, it can be any data from your system, it can be anything. So that is why after this webinar, after next 45 minutes of my speech, you will be getting a fair idea that okay, these are some important topics, some important terminologies that I should be keeping in my mind and should be always exploring, because the more you use internet, the more you use smart devices, you are exposed to the world and you are exposed to the hacker. Okay. I'm just getting a call. Give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so now let's go forward and look at the agenda for this webinar. Here we are going to talk about some important and new terminologies might be for you. Some of you might be familiar as well. So first of all, we will be talking about what is hacking, why do we need to understand the concepts of this, what are the X factors responsible, what are the reasons behind learning all these things. Second, we will be getting to know about the types of hackers in the market. Okay, what are the types of hackers we have over the internet, over the in your surrounding? It might be present, or he might be, or she might be present anywhere. So we'll get to know what are the different types of hackers we have and how you are classifying the types of hackers. Then we will talk about a terminology which is very common and very widely used in cyber world, that is called social engineering. We'll talk about social engineering, and then we will move to phishing, one of the most widely and commonly used method by the hackers to target their victims. Okay. Then we have steganography. That's again an art of encryption and decryption. We'll talk about steganography. Then we will move to data privacy. We will talk about the data, why data is important, and how to keep your data safe and secure, and how a hacker can approach you to get access of your data. And then we will be discussing about spoofing techniques of email and IP spoofing, how nowadays hackers are spoofing the email addresses and the IP address of the targets, and followed by another topic, that is reverse engineering, where we are going to see how you can debug a specific tool, and debugging can be done for any XYZ reasons. So we'll talk about some of the factors for which we are going to do debugging, and some of the softwares which we use for debugging as a beginner level. And then finally, I will be showing you an environment of a machine which is most widely used by the hackers. That is Kali Linux, Linux flavor operating system, that is mostly used by the hackers as a beginner. So we'll talk about all of these topics one by one. I request you to please hold your horses for the questions and keep them tight enough. Once I will be done with my presentation, I will be having ample amount of time to talk to you, all of you. Whatever doubts you have, we'll discuss that. Okay, till then, please keep a note of your doubts. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Moving ahead, first of all, let's now start with the agenda, that why is a cybersecurity important? So as I told you that nowadays, because we are more exposed to internet, we are more and more using devices which are connected to internet any through direct or indirect way. So we should be aware about the different methods, different attacks which an hacker can use to target your system, or to target you, your device, or your any specific information. Okay, so that is why we should be so if you go, if you just compare the scenario, if you go 10 years back, or let's say 5 years back. Okay, so at your home there was hardly one or two smart devices used by your parents or your elder brothers or sisters. But now if you see in a family, each member almost is having a smartphone, if not smartphone, a smart device, either a laptop for study, or an iPad, or a tab for educational purpose, or might be for any official documentation as well. So the more and more devices which are connected to internet, the more and more vulnerability which are exposed to the real world, which can be used by the hackers to target you. And that is why you should be aware about this cyber security concepts, and what are the different key points that should be kept in mind whenever you are coming across something which feels suspicious. Okay, So straightforward, let's talk about, having said that, it is important, let's understand the types of hackers. Now, the first thing which I will like to mention here out is, how are we classifying these types of hackers? This is a very simple method, guys. Okay, what happens, like if you are working with any organization, or if you have a skill of a hacker, and if you share this information to anyone in your family, or even to your friend, your colleagues, anyone, so what person perceives about you is that you are a thief. So it's a very lifetime, experiment I have been experiencing since my graduation. Whenever I tell to someone that I am a certified ethical hacker working with EC Council, and delivering the training and webinars on this, so people think that I am a kind of person who is having, that skill that I can easily, hack someone data, try to steal somebody's information. So kind of a perception which they make about me is like he's a thief. The same happens with all the hackers. Okay, so that is exactly wrong. Actually, it's a hype which is made by a media, that if a person is a hacker, he or she is a thief. No, if a person is a hacker, that simply means that that person have the capability to target the victim and find out his vulnerability. Imagine if sitting in Delhi, I can target your system in Missouri. That means there is any vulnerability in your system which is allowing me to hack it sitting remotely from any other geographical location. The only thing as a hacker is I have to find out what is that vulnerability. If I can find out that vulnerability, I have that skill set, that means I am a hacker. Now, after finding out the vulnerability, what you have intention, that defines that which type of hacker you are. So the intention, the task, the action which you take after finding the vulnerability, after finding the loopholes of any target, that categorizes you that which type of hacker you are. So based upon the intention, based upon the task, based upon the work, based upon the activity, what hackers do. Okay. I think I am audible to all. Please check your audio connection for those who are experiencing audio problem, because other participants can hear me loud and clear. Those who are putting in the chat area that you are having an audio problem, I request you to please check your audio connection. Thank you. Okay. So now let's discuss about these type of hackers. So what are these hackers? Talking about the first one, black hat hacker. So that, as the name signifies, that these type of hackers are doing completely illegal tasks. So let's say that after finding the vulnerability into my target system, now I am trying to exploit his vulnerability. Okay, I'm trying to use it for my personal gain. That can be any XYZ reasons. I don't care about that. But whatever I'm doing is not allowed. Okay, I'm not authorized. So all these activities are illegal. So these type of activities are mostly done by the black hat hackers. Okay, so we categorize them under a category called black hat. Then we have another category that is called gray hat and white hat. So first of all, I'll tell you about white hat hackers. So white hat hackers are actually those hackers, those who do everything for a good cause. They are also called penetration testers. For example, if I am hiring a individual who is an expert in finding out the vulnerability, and I'm asking him to tell me that what are the vulnerabilities I have on my website, up to what level a particular individual can penetrate to my website. So he is doing all the testing stuff. Okay, all things for good cause. So that particular hacker is called white hat hacker. Then comes gray hat. So what is gray hat? A mixture of both black and white. So let's say if you are working for an organization who is asking you to find out the vulnerability in the system. Okay, and finding out the vulnerability is a very tough task. Now during that finding out the vulnerability, let's say you have to do a exploit, or let's say you have to take an action which is not authorized. Then you will ask your higher authorities that, sir, I have to go this way to find out the vulnerability, should I go or not? You will take permission, you will have to be authorized to do that particular step. So if you are doing something illegal that is authorized to find out the vulnerability, then you are doing that task after the authorization. You have the permission. Okay. And these type of hackers mostly work in the companies. They are also called ethical hackers or gray hat hackers. Okay. So they do both the things, some legal, some illegal. Illegal things, of course, after the permission, after the authorized permissions. Okay. Then you might have heard about the events called bug bounty, which keeps on happening around the world to find out the vulnerabilities. Recently, there was a scenario in India. One of the hackers from India, I should not say hacker, he was an IT expert guy. He, claimed to one of the big giants, like I think it was Twitter or something. He claimed that there is a bug which he can use to find out the data, and then that particular company organization paid him in dollars to just give that information. Now after that, he that company asked their IT experts to work on that and try to close that, so that it should not be exposed to the other world. So that's what the hackers are doing. Now another type of hackers we have called script kiddies. So script kiddies are very interesting hackers. These hackers actually are unskilled hackers. They don't know anything, but they are interested to do hacking. So what they do is they simply go to internet, search for tools which can help them to do hacking, download those tools, install them, and start doing hacking. So they are using already made tools which are available on the internet, just watching some random YouTube videos or some random guided access videos from some resources and just trying to hack someone, trying to hack somebody data, and can be anything. So they are using already made tools available on the internet. So they are called script kiddies. They're playing with the scripts which are already created. Then we have state sponsored hackers. This is a very interesting type of hacker, state sponsored. So state sponsored hacker can be a black hat hacker, can be a gray hat hacker, or can be a white hat hacker. As the name implies that he will be sponsored for what he does. That means he will be paid. So bug bounty events, whenever we have a bug bounty event, and big giants like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Tesla, all of these organizations, they literally call the black hat hackers, white hat hackers, gray hat hackers. They call all the hackers on one platform, and they ask them that you have the authority to target our website, our this particular page, this server. And if you find any vulnerability, you tell us, we will pay you in dollars, we will pay you in millions and billions. So all the hackers, either he's a black or he's a white or he's a gray or he's a skip, they start using their all skills to target that server and to find if they find any vulnerability. So that is done in the presence of the authority. That means with the proper authorization. So they are paying to those hackers. Okay, for example, if I'm working with any organization to do penetration testing, to disclose any vulnerability found, so the company is paying to me as a stipend, as a salary, or as a bonus. So they are sponsoring me, so I will be categorized as a state sponsored hacker, and later on, of course, black, white, or gray, depends upon my task. Okay, and then finally we have another hacker that is called hacktivist. Now hacktivist hackers are those hackers, those who don't have any illegal activities performed, but what they do is they try to disturb the sentiments of people. Okay, by just by, let's say, by creating a rivalry between two different political parties, between two different religion, two different states, two different countries, and so on. So they just try to create they just try to convey their message, and sometimes those messages can disturb the sentiments of people. So recently you might have heard about many events happening like this. So I would like to share you some events which is coming straight forward to my mind from this hacktivist. In India itself, it's like last month there was a case in South India where one elephant was uh, dead because of some unnatural events like burning of some crackers or something like that. So the local parties of that state, they were using that particular topic, that particular news, for their political gains. So they were just using it for the political gains. So what the hackers of that particular state, I mean those who are native of that state, working from any state or country irrespective of that, what hackers did was they hacked the website of that political party homepage, or whatever the website was, and they posted the messages which was conveying a message to stop using that particular news, that particular agenda for doing a political gain, because that was not something which is under the ethics, human ethics, right? So they were asking them to stop doing that anonymously. They were not traced down. Okay. Similarly, in our India, I remember in January or in last 19 late December, one of the neighboring countries, I will not like to give the name, one of the neighboring countries, they hacked the Twitter handle account of one of the famous personality of Bollywood. Again, I would not like to know the name. So they hacked the Twitter handle account, and they started posting different types of messages which was against the patriotism of the country. Then what hackers from India did was they hacked the official government website of their country, and they posted the images and photos of our Bollywood celebrity for whom they hacked the account, just to show that you should not try to do something, or try to play with the social media accounts of any of the personalities from the India. So what I'm trying to convey here is, in a nutshell, hacktivists are those type of hackers those just try to convey their messages to the world, being an anonymous user, of course, and they just try to create rivalry, disturb the sentiments of people sometimes, and sometimes, of course, for a good cause, just try to convey their message so that nobody can track them down. Okay, so these are general classifications. Apart from this, you might come across many new classifications on the internet, but these are basic general classifications which we normally classify the hackers based upon their activities and the intention. I hope that makes sense. Having said that, moving forward, talking about social engineering. Now, what is social engineering? I'll simply say in a very simple layman language, social engineering means psychologically playing with the target. Okay, so when you try to psychologically manipulate someone, you are actually doing social engineering. And if you are good at that, believe me, you can be a very good hacker. Because if you can psychologically manipulate someone, that's a very big achievement. You can manipulate him or her for any other XYZ reason. For examples, you can manipulate him or her to access the credentials of a social media account or any website or any other portals. You can manipulate him or her for spying on him or her. You can get the credentials of debit card, credit card details. You can influence him with different types of thoughts and beliefs. So this is a very important methodology used by the hackers, social engineering. Let me give you a very simple example. I hope all of you might have seen a movie from Hollywood named as Now You See Me. That is one of the very famous movie, Now You See Me, where there are four horsemen, those who are trying to show magic to the world. Actually, they are just trying to psychologically manipulate, but yeah, that is conveyed as they are trying to show magic to the world. In that movie, which came last, there was a second series of that movie which came in 2019. I remember a scene from that movie where one of the actor, he wanted to hack the server of that particular organized building, of that particular company. So to hack the server, the only way was to get a physical access. Without getting a physical access, he was not able to hack the server. So to get the physical access, what he did was he goes physically to the premises, he goes to the entrance gate. Then at the entrance gate, he faces the security guard. The guard asks him to show the ID. He shows the fake ID, and then he convinced the guard that I have forgot my wallet, I forgot my ID card or something like that into my building on my seat. I just need to go and fetch it and come back. Within a minute, I'll go and come back. Then finally, he was able to convince. He goes inside the building. He plugs in the USB, and the game begins. So what I'm trying to say is that social engineering is a very important and very, I should say, effective method which is used by the hackers. And the same might be happening with you also. It might have happened, or might somebody try to do it with you. For example, you became friends with someone on social media, or through any friends of friends and friends, something like that. And then that person gains your confidence within a week or month or year. And after gaining your confidence, the person might use that confidence, that trust of you, to gain some information which he or she might be planning for many long time. So this is happening nowadays mostly through messages, mails, social media. So you should be very much careful. If something comes across this, there should be proper there should be proper, I should say, you should take each step very carefully. If you are interacting with any unknown person, you should not immediately start sharing your personal information or your confidential data. If you're doing that, make sure that he or she is not misusing. If doing so, should immediately file a cyber cell complaint or something like that. After social engineering, what next hackers do is they try to do phishing. It's a very most widely used method by the hackers, phishing. So what happens in phishing? You try to replicate a page. You try to replicate a page which looks original but is not actually original. I'll show you this topic practically. I will not speak on this lot. Let me share you one page. I'll request all of you to analyze that page and then answer my questions in the chat box. Let's see how many of you are, as of now, smart enough to understand the concepts of phishing, which you might have come across in your everyday life. So let me stop sharing this slide and I'm going to share my browser with all of you. Let me just give me a minute. I want all of you to do a careful analysis of this page, which I'm going to share right away. Okay, looks good. Sorry, I did not share my screen. Let me do that. Okay, so we have approximately 33, 32 participants, everyone to quickly analyze this page. And the question is very simple. How many of you think that this is the original login page of Rediff Mail? If yes, why? If you say fake, why? Please justify your answer with at least 1 point. You can open this page on your laptop or a mobile phone, try to compare the page and then give me the answers. I want to see that how many of you, if you come across a phishing, if somebody tries to do phishing with you, are you able to find out?
So can you repeat?
Yeah, so the question is straightforward, simple. I want all of you to analyze this page carefully and tell me, is this the original page of Rediff Mail to log in? If yes, then why? If no, then why? You can simply compare it. You can open your laptop or your other device, go to Rediff Mail, open the login page, and you can compare it with this page and then give me the answers. So I'm getting answers saying that no, no, no. Please justify your answer. So Kavya says they ask password. So Kavya, every website asks for a password if you are trying to log in. Ayush says the logos are different. Which logos, Ayush? Please try to make it more specific. In tab. Okay, but I think are talking about this tab or what? So many advertisements are there. So Dhruv, you always have advertisements on login page of Rediff Mail. You can cross verify. We always have advertisements coming up straightforward ahead. So ads are nowadays, digital marketing is everywhere. That's not a big deal. Rediff Mail has R as a symbol. Yeah, it has R as a symbol here, buddy. My bad. Sorry for that. Krishta Rana. We have R as a symbol, as a logo in here as well. Come on. You guys are going good. At least you guys are finding out some comparison. That's very good. I still want some more points at least. Okay, now Kavya says it's fine. Can you please give me an answer? Say why, Kavya, why it is fine? If you're saying it's fine or if it is original, give me an answer for that also. Aditi says in my phone it's not written secured login. So Aditi, whenever you see that it's not a secured login, please always try to recheck your connection, try to refresh the page, because if it is not a secured login, please do not try to enter your credentials. It can be a page which can access your credential from there. Kavya says everything is valid, it's correct, the URL is same, it's original. Ishanvi says okay, okay, that's cool. Everyone is giving me the answers. That's good to see you're participating. We're not just a spectator. Good. Anyone else looks real? Gurleen says looks real. Okay, great. Now, this is what I want to show you guys. Now, let me show you something very interesting. Everybody stop typing now, please, off the keyboard on the screen. Thank you so much for that answers. I deeply appreciate your involvement. Thank you. Now, let me just give you some insights of this page, everyone. Now, it's a original login page. If somebody wants to use this page, the person will simply go to the username, enter his username, go to the password, enter his password, and then click on sign in. Now, let me show you what happens on this page. As you are saying fake or original, let me show you. So let's say I am taking a username as Radhika. I'm just picking up random names, and password I'm taking as Aditi. Okay, of course it's a random username and password, so it doesn't make sense, but still just for testing purpose. Okay, Radhika username, password as Aditi. Of course, the username and password typed by the user will be original, will be a valid credential. Okay, as of now, I'm just showing you testing purpose. The moment after entering the username and password, when user clicks on sign in, let's see what happens. So the page got refreshed and something went, but I was not able to identify what went wrong. I'll do it again. Now
Sir,
this time I will take the username as let's say Sweetie, which I can see on the chat area, and I'll take password as Gurleen. Okay. Now just see very carefully. Now what happens? Second time I'm doing this, guys. Sign in. Something different you notice now. You can please directly speak to me if you want. In case
yes,
if you.
sir.
So what
Yeah.
is that?
It's
Wrong
written
username,
wrong username and
username
password
and password
combination.
Yes. So
combination.
this alert message was not given prior to this page, right? We only got it on this page. That means something was definitely wrong on the previous page.
Excuse
Because
me, sir.
yes, Ayush.
Sir, this is the real page because it has
Okay.
the logos also same and the username warning also came.
Okay, great. Very good analysis. Thank you so much. Now, let me show you what happened on the previous page. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to minimize all of my pages. I'm just going to my computer, just opening my database. And let me show you what happened actually. Oh, sorry, my bad. When the first page, which initially, so if you guys remember the username and password, I wrote the username as Radhika and the password as Aditi. Now the question arises is if that page was original, which of course some of you said original after doing analysis, after getting XYZ reasons, then how come in my local machine I got these credentials? While I don't have the credential of the second page where I wrote Gurleen and Sweetie, that is not stored, but the first page credentials are stored into my local system. That means definitely something was wrong. That was not a original page. But you judge yourself, guys. I'm not asking you to answer me. Judge yourself that if you might have come across that page in your day-to-day life, on your computer system, in lab, in cyber cafe, anywhere, and if you are not aware, you simply check what you have checked initially when I asked you this question, then how easily into that system your credentials can be stored and you can be hacked easily. This is what is phishing. I showed you on a very, very small scale level. Believe me, there are many more advanced techniques to do that. Okay, so this is how actually happens a phishing. You might have heard about an incident which recently happened, not recently, I should say last year in Pune. There was an attack on Cosmos Bank. So Cosmos Bank attack was done, and there were many crore rupees which were transferred to different accounts across the world, which are still not traceable. That where did money go? Because the hackers used anonymous IP address, so that could not be traced down. When bank started, doing a research that what went wrong, that hackers were able to access, then bank issued a statement to the media saying that the hackers were not able to target the server of the bank. The hackers only targeted the payment gateway page and they replicated that page. They made a phishing page of payment gateway and they redirected all the users incoming request. Instead of going to the original server, the request was going to the fake page, and from there at the back end, since it's their page, they can do whatever they want. So 90% of the hackings which are being happening nowadays, every second, believe me, as we are talking right now, there is someone whose data is being hacked, and hackers are doing that every second. It is being done. Okay, so phishing is the most widely tool which are used by the hackers. Now, phishing does not mean that you are only doing it for a website. No, phishing can be done through calls, through messages, through application, through social media, through physical contact, or through any other resources as well. The entire logic behind doing phishing is trying to extract your personal data for which he or she is not authorized. That is called phishing. After that, we have another method called steganography. Now, you guys might have come across this. What is steganography? You might have heard this terminology. If not, you might have heard about encryption and decryption. Nowadays, I remember, I think it was in 2018 or 2017. I'm not confirmed about that exact year. WhatsApp came up with the update when they started this end-to-end encryption. Initially, when WhatsApp was launched, there was no end-to-end encryption. When you started a new chat, now when you start a new chat, you always see a message coming up on your chat box that says end-to-end encryption. This chat is secured by end-to-end encryption. Now, what does that mean? That means when you write hi, hello, how are you, when you send it to your friend, and when that message flows through the network, that is encrypted into different format, into bits, into bytes. So if any hacker tries to hack your message, hack your information from the network, he or she won't be able to do that, because he or she needs the same algorithm to decrypt which was used to encrypt. And same algorithm with the same technique is present on your receiver's end, and that is why when the message is sent on that specific number or to specific target, then the person gets the message easily decoded back. So steganography is an art of encryption and decryption. We have been doing this since last 100 years. The only difference is the way of doing this is keep on changing. Now, I want all of you to do a brainstorming on this question, which I'm going to ask you now. I will not tell you solution for this in this webinar. If you want to find the solution, I want you to put an effort, do a brainstorming, start going to Google, search for the answers. If not, then at the end of the training webinar today, I will convey something which will definitely help you for that. The question is very simple again. Imagine you have a laptop, okay? And let's say you have a drive, let's say a drive where you have any important folder which you don't want to share to anyone except you. Let's say you are at your home and all the family members are using your laptop. Let's say in evening you are using it, in afternoon your brother is using, in morning your dad is using, and so on. Everybody knows the password of the laptop and they all are using it. Now you don't have the permission to move the files from your laptop to anywhere, neither on a pen drive, nor on a hard disk, nor to cloud. My question is very simple. If you have a folder, let's say I have a folder called ELK. This is one of the module I take for training. Let's say we have a folder called ELK. I don't want anyone to access this folder except me in my home, nor my brother, nor sister, nor any other family member. So what will you do to maintain your privacy on this folder? I want some answers right now in the chat box. What will you do to maintain your privacy on this folder? Hide. Okay, Kavya says we can hide the folder. Perfectly correct. Any other answer apart from hiding a folder? Lock the folder. Perfect. Very good, Abhijit. We can lock the folder. Okay, great. What else? You can speak directly if you want. Hide, lock the folder. We can put a password. Very good. Ishanvi goes so much deep. She says that we can change the language of the folder it was written in. So Ishanvi, that's a limitation in Windows operating system. It's a closed operating system. You won't be able to do that. Jessica says giving a password will do. Of course, you can try that, no problem. Aditi wants to say something. I was getting an incoming voice from Aditi. I hope I disturbed you while you were speaking. Srishti says bitter lock. Okay. Ultimately, the answer is putting a password. Okay. Okay. So let me conclude. We got two answers mainly. So one answer was hide the folder. Second answer was lock the folder. Apart from this, is there any other way which you can use? I want all of you to search for it, because these two methods are very much vulnerable. How? Let me give you a simple example. All of you know how to hide a folder and how to unhide. Nowadays, it's very simple. Right click on a folder, go to properties, and you can simply say hidden. The folder is hidden. If a folder is hidden in Windows 8 and 10, it's simply so simple. Just go to view here in the menu bar, go to view, and you will see an option here called hidden items. Just check this box and all the hidden items are visible. There is no privacy. Believe me, hiding a folder is nowadays not at all secure, because if person is having a basic knowledge of computer, he or she knows how to unhide a folder. Second thing, put a lock. Now guys, imagine a situation. I want all of you to think of it very carefully. You are at your home. Okay, you are having a mobile phone having a password. Nowadays, all have mobile phones having a password to maintain your privacy. That's very important nowadays. If no privacy, there is no life. Yes, somebody wants to say
Now
something.
we can build a folder in the inscription.
Build a folder in the inscription. Okay, fine. I'll talk about that in detail later on. Thank you so much for that input. Okay. So I was saying, imagine a scenario where you are sitting at your home with your family member. Okay, and you are sitting for a dinner. So it's about to be weekend. You have a very nice dinner made by your mom. So you all are sitting on a dining table. Suddenly you got a message on any messaging platform, let's say WhatsApp. So your mobile got a notification, and all the family members who were busy eating, they start looking at you. Then you simply take your phone, put in the pocket, so that everybody should not ask you something. Then everybody ignores it. They start having their dinner back. After a minute, again you got a message on your WhatsApp. Now this time again everybody got disturbed, and your papa says, give me your phone. I want to see whose message is this. Now you can't say, no dad, it's my lab, my phone, my life, my rules, I'll not give you my phone. You will have to give your phone to your dad. Now when your dad takes your phone, he will simply see there is a WhatsApp notification. So when he will try to open the mobile phone, first of all, there is a screen lock. He will ask you password. Then tell me the password. You can't say, no dad, I will not share you my password, it's my personal phone, my personal chat. If you say so, out of the home right now. Okay, you will have to share your password. Similarly, if you have a application lock, it will not work, because what I'm trying to convey here is, if somebody dominates you, the password is of no use. Believe me. If you dominate someone, then yeah, it's cool. If you dominate someone, then it's fine. For example, the same question your younger brother or sister asks you, that hey bro, give me your phone, I want to see your WhatsApp notification. Then you can scold him. Nahi dunga, bhag yahan se. You do their common phone, because you have the authority. But you can't do it to your elder brother, sister, mom, dad, because they dominate you, right? So ultimately, the answer to this is, if you're having a lock, if it is used by someone who's dominating you, you will have to share the password. So what now, how to maintain your privacy? So I want all of you to do a research on this, and then let me know in future when we interact. Otherwise, there is method which we use. Let me give you a hint, which is used to hide your folders using command terminal to maintain extra level of security, privacy, I should say, on the data, which you should try to see. Okay. Next, yeah, so we have talked about data security a lot. Moving on to spoofing now. So somebody asked me while I was talking about the agenda, that what is spoofing? So spoofing means when you try to impersonate someone else. Okay, let's say you are sending a mail to someone with another username which is not exactly your username. So you are trying to impersonate someone else. Okay, so what happens is, that is called spoofing. You are changing your detail. Okay, the same can happen with the IP address also. You are changing your IP address. That's called IP spoofing. Now sometimes what happens, some systems are dedicatedly created to respond only to specific IP addresses. Now if you want the details to be sent to that particular IP address, then you can spoof your IP address, and then server will think that the request is coming from an authentic source, but that's not authentic, that's a fake source. Okay, so that's called spoofing. Having said that, moving ahead, reverse engineering. So reverse engineering means when you are trying to debug a software. So you guys might have noticed whenever you download a software which is new to you and it is widely used, a very good tool, it is very helpful, then initially it gives you a trial version. After 10 to 15 days, it will ask you to buy the license. Now, as a beginner, as a hacker, you don't want to pay for it. Okay, then what you can do is you can debug that software. You can find out the logic behind creating that software. You can try to bypass this. And the same can be done for ethical cause. For example, if you are having any problem in a software, if somebody is trying to bypass it again and again, and if you're working for a company says, boss, we're not getting money and we are having users more than enough, so how the hell people are using my application? Then you will ask a cybersecurity expert to start doing a reverse engineering on that software and try to debug what are the vulnerabilities which are being exposed to other person who are using it. So it is used for both the cause depending upon your intention again. And then finally we come across the reverse engineering, Kali Linux, that is most widely used operating system by the hackers. So I am not pretty much sure how much you guys are aware about the Linux operating system. Whatever you are using nowadays and right now is a Windows operating system. So my machine is also a Windows operating system. But if I show you a Kali Linux operating system, which I use in my virtual machine, so let me show you that. So let me just start my Kali machine. So Kali machine is a Linux based operating system, which gives you feasibility to customize the software, the tools according to your need. And Kali Linux is one of the most widely Linux flavor used by the hackers in beginning. We have many other flavors like you might have heard about Ubuntu, Parrot, CentOS, okay, Red Hat, Debian based, RPM based, and many more. But the most popular among the hackers is Kali Linux. Why popular? Let me show you some of the reasons behind that. So please excuse me for this loading of the operating system because it's actually virtually loading it on my system. I have a couple of machines running up, around 4 or 5 machines, so it's just taking a couple of minutes. Almost good to go. Yeah, here it goes. So I'm gonna log in here. Sorry, I think I gave wrong username. Just try. Yeah. Cancel. Yeah, no, it's good. Okay. So whatever I have discussed, whatever terminologies I have used, you see how this Kali Linux machine shows you. So if you go to application, that's a menu. If you go to this, you see the categories have been categorized as per the used by a cybersecurity expert or a hacker: information gathering, vulnerability analysis, application analysis, database assessment, password attacks, wireless attacks like Wi-Fi cracking and different attacks, reverse engineering, sniffing and spoofing, post exploitation, forensics, and so on. So there are many tools pre-installed as a package which you can directly start using to try to hack someone or try to penetrate someone. Okay, so that is why this is one of the most widely used operating system. And in Linux, most of the things are command line based tool. For example, if you open any software, let's say you want to do information gathering on Nmap. So if you click on this Nmap, you see how the software will open. It will give you a command line interface. See, it says this is executing Nmap version 7.80, and your Nmap is ready. Go ahead and start typing your commands. something what you see in the movies, the hackers typing the codes. So this is what they all do. Instead of using these windows where we have everything graphical based. So if I open any software here, I can get a dashboard where I can navigate and do my stuff. But on Linux, it's not like that. Everything is on open. You can do whatever you want. You can customize this tool and map according to your need and use it. Okay, so that is why this is one of the most widely used. So if you are planning anyhow, in future to explore the world of hacking, my only recommendation for all of you is to start exploring the world of Linux. Not only for hacking, even when you go in future as a programmer or developers, then you will have to come across Linux operating system. Okay, but if it is recommended, you start using Linux operating system and you will see the world of computer is so addicted and beautiful that you will stop watching movies on Windows and start moving towards Linux operating system. Okay, so here is, I am going to wrap up my agenda. I have few questions. I'll take them up and I'll request all of you to put a question in the chat area. I will take your few more minutes, and I'm sorry for that if it is exceeding beyond the time limit, especially to ma'am if she is there. I'm sorry, ma'am, for getting more time here. So you says, sir, how do you do that one system, two operating system? Please reply. You actually, I don't know what's your name because I'm seeing your username as you. So I'm just saying that name. What happens is we use some softwares for that. Okay, I'm using a virtual box named as Oracle. There are many methods to do that. You can use it a VMware. You can dual boot your machine. Instead of using Windows, you can only use Linux. So there are many ways to do that. Of course, I will not be able to show you in this webinar. So, but yeah, I can give you the insights of that. You can use VirtualBox or you can use VMware. So try to explore these words. You will get an idea. Any other questions? Anyone would like to ask me whatever we have discussed till now? Now, for those who are asking me, can you show us how do you hack someone's data? Can you show us what about in MacBook? I have a question, then I got a question. Okay, so if you are interested to do whatever we have discussed, how to create phishing page, how to do steganography, how to do reverse engineering, how to do IP spoofing. So we have an upcoming training program starting from next week. I hope next weekend, if I'm not wrong. You have to cross verify from the coordinator. I will share you detail. We have an upcoming training which will be for 12 to 14 hours. That will be for 1 hour daily. So it will go around 14 to 15 days. The timings will be as per your convenience, mostly in evening, so that your other classes and lectures should not be hampered. Okay, if you want, you can enroll for that training program. If you want a practical experience to do all of these things in practical, because as of now it was just a verbal communication from my end. If you want to get involved, get your hand dirty on these hacking stuff, then do come for this training, guys. The only prerequisite which you have to fulfill is you should be having a laptop with minimum 4 GB of RAM. Minimum 4 GB of RAM. Less than that is not recommended to come for the training. Okay, and you will be, if you are having Windows, it's good. If you're having Mac or any other operating system, it is also fine, but only it will take more time. That's the only difference. Okay, and of course good internet connection, that's self understood. Okay, so if you want, if you fulfill this prerequisite, if you're interested to dive deep, start from the basic, do some hacking stuff, security stuff, hide the folders, maintain your privacy, do some things like that, so please contact Manisha. She is the coordinator of this training program. The contact number is here and the email ID. You can ping her on WhatsApp or you can directly call and ask for the registration information. You will have to pay a nominal charge of 999 for this entire training program, and that charge is actually for the certification which will be given to each participant from Harbor Technologies in association with IIT Hyderabad. Okay, so the certification will be, of course, a digital certification because in pandemic we will not be giving you hard copies, but yeah, it will be a valid certification with a license key, digital key, which can be cross verified anytime with ELAN Vision organization of IIT Hyderabad, that you have this certification authentic which you did after completing this training program. So that's all from my end, guys. If any other questions, I will be happy to answer them. You can speak to me or you can put in the chat box. Aditi says, can hacktivist be bad also? Of course, Aditi, if you're trying to disturb the sentiments of people, and if person is getting, some sort of a problem with his, brain, or, your message can have a negative impact on him or her, then of course that is against the cyber laws. So training is starting next week. As I said, it's starting next week. Nayonika, Ishanvi, please contact this person. Please pen down this contact number or email ID. You can take a screenshot if you want. You can just contact her. She will be happy enough to guide you with the enrollment program. I'm very sorry for that. I'm not going to teach you how to hack Gmail password. I'm not allowed for that. It's again the laws of cyber law of India. Not only India, of course, any country, it's completely illegal. So we will be learning everything under the laws of India, because being a certified ethical hacker, I have certain policies which I have to follow, and being a good citizen of India, you should also follow them. I will tell you the method how you can approach to hack a Wi-Fi, but again, I will not show it live. But yeah, I'll give you the guidance for that, how you can do it for Wi-Fi hacking. So I think that's all for that. If you guys don't have any question, I am good enough to call it for the day. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving your time, and thanks all the participants for attending this webinar. Arya, it's starting from next week. Please do contact Manisha for further details about the registration.
Thank
It
you,
is
sir,
not mandatory for anyone. It is only for those who are interested. Okay, it's not mandatory for anyone.
thank you, sir, for such an informative workshop. Definitely, my students are going to register for it. Many of them are very interested to know all those things. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, looking forward for that, ma'am. Thank you so much again, once again. Okay, then, thank you, everyone. And again, this is your presenter bidding goodbye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay inside.